Hey, friends, welcome back to the Make Good Fashion podcast. It is season 3, and it feels so good to be back. I've been in a season of like forced rest that I feel is so needed. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we can just be running ourselves into the ground and really neglect rest. And I hate I hate getting to the point of burnout because it's like then you just don't want to do anything at all. So I'm trying to be really intentional about taking some time out to rest and being okay with resting. I think for a little bit. In the past, I have felt some shame associated with rest. Like, if I'm not productive, I don't feel like good enough. I don't feel like worthy to do anything else for the day. Like, I feel bad if I'm not being productive. And so I'm learning that rest is good and there should be no shame associated with rest. And then when we are well rested, then we can put even more into what we're building. And so I just want to encourage anyone who is working really hard in building their brands and whatever it is that you're doing to take some time out to rest. It is okay to rest. I'm giving you permission right now. But I am so excited to just feel rejuvenated and ready to deliver an awesome season. So, season 3 is going to be all about wholesale and opening up this other sales channel within your fashion business. And as some of you guys may know, I do one-on-one consulting as well as the programs that we offer on makegoodfashion.com. But a lot of times when I meet with startups, the number one struggle is the struggling with sales. And like I built the website, I did all the things, and I'm struggling to get sales. And there are several factors that go into that, right? Like obviously you need marketing. And if you're doing organic marketing and not really putting money into your marketing, it's going to be slower to grow. So there's things like that. But I think also we need to talk about opening up different sales channels. And when we talk about sales channels, there's just different avenues to sell your goods and not limiting yourself to one avenue, whether that be, direct to consumer or anything else. But I'm going to talk about some of the different sales channels to start seeing more sales and grow your brand revenue. And again, the emphasis in this season, in season 3, is going to be wholesale. So I will be going really into depth into opening up that wholesale part of your business to sell into retail stores and all of that. So if you are not subscribed to the podcast yet, make sure that you are subscribed because you're not going to want to miss this season. We have amazing discussions coming up, amazing interviews with some top retail buyers so that you can know exactly what retail buyers are looking for when it comes to brand placement and all of that. So make sure you're subscribed right now. Take a second to do that. So let's talk about some different sales channels. So, number one, the first sales channel I'll talk about is e commerce, right? Selling directly through your website. And if you don't have a website yet, that is something that everyone should have across the board. And I feel like I shouldn't need to say this, but I'm going to anyway because do meet people who do not have e-commerce sites yet. And maybe you're just starting out and building out your brand, so you haven't done that step, but you plan to, and that's great. But this is totally something that you need to have because not only is it a sales channel, but you want to think about your website as like a digital business card in this place where people come to see, what your brand has to offer, to see the imagery, where you can really present the visuals and the branding and the lifestyle behind your brand and really get to control your narrative. And so it's a great sales channel because when you're selling direct to consumer on your website, you're cutting out the middleman. So you're getting a larger profit margin and all of that. And if you are on socials and you are promoting your brand on social, you want to have somewhere where your customers can go back and shop. Now, I know another sales channel, which we'll get to, is selling through social media. And I know some brands that only sell through social media. But even then, you want to have a e-commerce site connected because social media can be shut down in a second. We're hearing all these things about TikTok and how there's that it might not be around for much longer. And for those brands who exclusively sell through TikTok, when that is over, where your customer is gonna go? Like, a lot of people who follow you are gonna be lost in space because if it disappears, then it's done for, right? But if you have an e-commerce site, you should, one, be capturing emails and have an email pop-up that pops up right as customers come on and capturing those emails so that even if, someone doesn't return to your website or someone or social media stops or whatever it may be, that you can still be in touch and have a contact for your customer base. And so number one, again, is going to be e-commerce site. So make sure that you have that down. Next, we'll roll into selling through social media platforms since we were just talking about that. And that looks like the different shopping features that you will find on like Instagram shop or TikTok shop and things like that. And so you can sell directly on social media, which is really cool right now. And if you have an e-commerce site built out like Shopify, they actually have integrations where your inventory can all be synced up from your e-commerce store to your social media sites. And so you really wanna make sure that you have that integration so everything is streamlined if you do have an e-commerce store. And if you're wondering about how to, sell on these social media sites, you do need to apply. I know TikTok, there's an application that you need to fill out to sell on TikTok. And then for Shopify, you have to have a Facebook business account, I believe, because Facebook or Meta owns Instagram. And so everything goes through the Facebook business account. And through there, you can then do, the installation to start selling on social media. The next sales channel I want to talk about is in-person sales. And so I know a lot of startups don't start with brick and mortar stores. There are some that do, and brick and mortar is definitely something you can look into, as in owning your own retail shop. But also, there are things like pop-up markets or craft fairs where you can just participate in for a weekend. And these are great because not only do you get to sell in person and meet your customers in person, but you can also get their feedback right there on the spot. And so you can look for different craft fair organizations like Renegade Craft or Intodo, which Intodo, we actually interviewed one of their founders last season, Shoba Phillips, who also owns Proclaim. And so if you are interested in learning more about Intodo, go find that episode. But there are so many that exist out there. West Coast Craft, all these craft fairs, and these are really nice ones that I'm mentioning where you will see apparel brands, even if you are like more on the higher end of apparel, that you can participate in these craft fairs, in these pop-up markets, and they're just great. You can make quick money in one day because usually they do a lot of marketing and promotions for these craft fairs and markets and pop-up shops. They do a lot of marketing, so there's a lot of people, a big crowd usually coming in if they're marketing it really well. And so you can see an influx in sales in a day or two or however long the pop-up markets go on. So that is another sales channel. And then lastly, I want to talk about wholesale, which again is what we will be talking about for all of season 3. And wholesale is selling into different retail stores, right? So basically, how wholesale works is that you are selling your goods in bulk to retail shops, and you are selling it at a wholesale cost. So it's a cost that's lower than you would sell, say on your website. And then the stores that you were selling your goods to will mark them up and sell them to your customers. So if you've ever dreamed about being in one of your favorite stores, whether that be, I don't know, what stores do you guys like? Like I don't really do a lot of shopping, but like let's say you want to be in Bloomingdale's, you know what I mean? That would be a wholesale partnership. And so this is another great way. The thing I love about wholesale is that you're selling in bulk. And so you can make a large amount of money very quickly, even though you are, not making as much of a margin as you would if you were selling direct to consumer. You still have the ability to make a lot of money because they're ordering more at once. And the idea is that you want to have multiple retail partners, right? Like you want to open some brands have hundreds and thousands of retail partners. So imagine what it would look like for you to sell your brand to hundreds and thousands of retail stores. And maybe that's not your ambition. Maybe you just want to be in a couple boutiques and that's fine too. But again, that is increased revenue for your brand. When you have more capital to work with for your brand, there is more that you can do. And so these are some different sales channels for you guys to think about. So if you are currently struggling to see sales in your business, I just encourage you to try some different sales channels out and see which one can work for you or which one your brand thrives in. So I hope all those suggestions were helpful to you. Again, thank you so much for listening and for joining me back on the podcast. It feels amazing to be back. And I just can't wait to add value to you guys and just see your brands grow as you implement the things that we talk about through these episodes. And again, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the podcast. If you have not left a review, Please leave us a 5-star review if you love this podcast and if it's been of any help to you. Leaving a review helps move the podcast up in the algorithm, and it also helps other aspiring fashion entrepreneurs, startups, and established brands discover the podcast. And we just want to spread the wealth of knowledge and give to anyone who needs this help. So help us out here, and help us get discovered by leaving a review. And that would mean so much to me. So, you guys, I will see you on the next episode. Hey guys, before I go today, I want to remind you of one thing. Did you know that at makegoodfashion.com, we have a free resource library filled with templates and guides and checklists to help you succeed in your fashion business? Yes, all you have to do is go to makegoodfashion.com, click free resources in the navigation, and you will see all the things. And you can find things from branding to production, just a ton of free, helpful resources that we believe will help you so much. We are constantly updating this resource library, so make sure to check back for more. We also have a blog, the Make Good Fashion blog, filled with articles to help inspire you and equip you with the information you need. We are here to help you succeed and avoid costly mistakes, so make sure to take advantage of all the resources available to you at makegoodfashion.com.